Thanks, man. Sure do, guys. Milanmastracci, Millmast. 210,000. Yeah, you will be right now.
What's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode. So if you guys have a 370, a 350, a G37S, or even a G35, you will have one of these in your car. This is a clutch spring. It's a helper spring that's in there, and it's made to make it so that the clutch pedal feels linear. Now the problem with this though is that the stock springs, they usually take out all the feeling from the clutch pedal. So when you try and engage it, or you try to just start up the vehicle and get the car going, it's pretty difficult because the clutch pedal feels pretty numb. So this here is the standard spring that came in the car. This is about a 6 kilo spring. So it requires 6 kilograms of force to compress this a millimeter. Now, what I am doing is potentially the second remedy, or the second option of the 3 different options that you guys can do. So if you guys have a G37 or any of those cars I mentioned, you guys will know of the issue at hand. Now, what I have in my hand here, inside this little packaging, is a replacement spring. Now this spring is a lot softer of a spring, so it means that you can utilize all the same stock pieces that were attached in the vehicle, and we can get it so that the clutch pedal feel should be a lot better. Now this option here is a $23 option. Now if this doesn't work, I'm out 23 bucks, and I'm probably gonna go up to the next option. The next option is going to be an aftermarket clutch pedal. It's gonna be fully adjustable, it's made for our cars, and I'll get into that later, but as it stands for now, I'm gonna show you what I just purchased. So the stock clutch pedal assembly has this helper spring. So you have this bottom piece, you have this little pin that goes through the bottom of it, you have this large spring, that's the piece we're gonna be replacing, you have this top part, and you have this little baby spring that goes on top of that. Now what we're gonna be doing is we're gonna be replacing this one with this new one here. So this is a lot softer of a spring. You can see I can effortlessly compress this. This one here, not so much. You can slightly bend it, you can slightly compress it, but nowhere near to the same extent as this one. So, yeah, it's gonna be a pretty easy install. I already removed this in a previous video just to see how that feeling was. That is a better feeling than stock, but there is a tiny bit of play once you get the car going, and hopefully this is gonna solve that problem. So I wanna have it so it kind of feels the same way as how it does without the spring entirely, but I wanna have it so it removes all slack and there's going to be constant pressure on the clutch pedal. So if you guys want to see how you'd go ahead and remove the clutch spring along with that entire assembly, you guys can check out the video that I have linked right here. You can click on that and it'll redirect you right to that video. But I'm not going to really go into the disassembly while it's already off the car. So what I've got right here is the bottom piece. We've got our new clutch spring. We have the top part, that little baby spring that goes on top. So see that little thing that's going up and down, the little peg? So that there is where the shift spring attaches to. So I pushed it forward to make it a little bit easier. So a little spring, top part, new clutch spring, and then the bottom piece. So it should all slide right in pretty nicely. Now when you're doing this part, it might be easier to have the entire spring zip tied together so that you're not really gonna be fighting the pressure of the spring. So once you have that on there, you're gonna grab your little pin along with the little C-clip that goes on the end of it, and you're gonna guide it through the bottom piece of this into the clutch pedal assembly. And then you're gonna put the C-clip on the other side of it. So when doing this process, I found that it was a little bit easier to install 3 zip ties around the sides of the spring to help fight against this spring pressure. So when you're taking out your clutch spring, it's actually rather simple because you're not really fighting against the pressure. You're actually working with it. So you're taking it out. But when you're working against it and you have to install it on the car, it's easier if you install a couple of zip ties on there just to help you get it on, and then afterwards you can cut them. So that's what I'm gonna be doing now. I installed a zip tie every 120 degrees so you'd have even constant pressure on the spring. So now that it's in, we can cut them and take the car for a spin to see how it drives. Okay, here we go. Let's start this bad boy off and see if it's any different. Oh, wow. Oh, that feels really good. So right now it doesn't feel bad at all. I'm gonna give this a little bit of time. So the last clutch modification that I did where I removed the spring. I let it sit for 2 weeks to see if there'd be any difference. So I wanted to see if I actually liked it long term. It wasn't bad. I think it's better than stock, but I do think so far this is even better than no spring at all. But I'll let you guys know soon. Okay, what's going on, guys? So it is about a week and a half later. This is after I have the clutch spring installed in the car, and I gotta say, it's a really nice modification. Now, before I showed you in a previous video what it felt like, and you know, I showed you the process of just removing the clutch spring, and I found that to be a decent change. I think that was a little bit better than stock. But for this $23 replacement spring from eBay, that's a replacement spring, I gotta say this is a lot better. The clutch pedal isn't numb. You feel every shift, you feel every gear change, and it feels a lot better than how it did. Now, it kind of got me thinking. So this is a $23 fix to the clutch pedal that, you know, feels numb. You don't really feel anything out of it. So what I'm thinking is, okay, if this right here is just a good remedy for it, is there a way to actually make it better? So it kind of got me thinking, there's an RJM clutch pedal assembly that's completely customizable for this Z. And I'm kind of tempted to pick it up because, I don't know, I feel like this here is just a little band-aid. This is a $23 small fix, I guess, to the bad clutch pedal. I'm thinking maybe that the RJM clutch pedal is a whole new solution to this problem. I've read a lot of reviews on it, and everyone that's purchased one has said great things about it, and they said they'd never go back. Maybe I'll drive it for another week or two, I don't know, but in the meantime, this is a hell of a big difference. If you're interested in just picking up this spring, it's a $23 option, it's cheap, you can buy one for yourself on eBay. I'll have a link in the description box. And if you guys want to pick up one of the RJM pedals, or even if you want to consider what I'm looking at, check the description box. I've got more information down there for you. But I gotta say, the install isn't exactly difficult. Now, if you guys are installing this new clutch spring, I would definitely have some zip ties there to help compress the spring beforehand before you go ahead and install it on the car. It makes it a lot easier, it makes it a lot simpler of a job because you're not gonna be fighting that spring pressure to get it installed on the vehicle. But right now I'm dropping off some more parts for the mini build. The mini build is coming. I will have videos coming out this week for it. Stay tuned. But right now it's just a waiting game for the machine shop. Okay guys, so we just dropped off the parts to the shop that's building up the mini engine and fixing it up. So it's machined out. They just need to reinstall the not reinstall. They need to take out the old valve guides and put the new ones in, along with reaming the inside diameter of each one of the guides. So once that's going to be done, I'll be able to get the motor back and get it up and running. But as for the Z, okay, I finished the outro and I was like, you know what? No, I still got more to say. I freaking love this thing. The coils are in, the exhaust is in, the car looks great, and man, it's just such a rewarding feeling when you do all of this work yourself, and it just looks amazing. Now, the suspension is pretty dialed in right now. I think I might lower the front, maybe 1/4 of an inch, but I mean, other than that, the Z is sitting, it's great. It's exactly how I want it to sit. Before I mentioned to you guys that I purchased coilovers, I gave you the option between either installing coils or installing an aftermarket exhaust. Now that the coils are in, well, now we can install the aftermarket exhaust. This new exhaust system that I'm going to be throwing on the Z is a full catback as opposed to the axle back that I have on the Z right now. So the car sounds great, but the stock piping, the stuff that I still have in between the catless parts of the vehicle along with the axle back, that midsection is still stock size piping and it's pretty restrictive. So we're going to be replacing that with all great stuff, bigger, better, much better performance stuff, and I am so pumped. So tomorrow you're going to see a new episode of New Tool Tuesday. On Wednesday, however, that is when you're going to see the new video regarding the exhaust system for the Z. So thank you guys so much for watching. Thank you for being a part of this. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for you. So stay tuned, stay subscribed, share the video. Thanks for watching, guys. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.